Hi everyone, welcome back to Coffee, Books, and Rain, where we love to talk about all things literary and things with words in them and all that sort of fun stuff. I do not actually have coffee today. I've had probably a whole pot, but I do in fact have it is rose strawberry Italian soda. Now I didn't add the cream because I only had oat milk. I probably could have, but all it is a little rose syrup, a little sugar-free strawberry syrup, and a little bit of club soda. So really quite refreshing on quite a lovely day outside. So one, I don't have coffee, and two, I don't even have rain. So what am I doing on your channel? Who knows? I'm talking about books, I guess. And we're going to talk about a kind of a heavy hitter. It's Darling Girls by Sally Hepworth. Now, I'm going to put the cover over here the way I try to do on most occasions, just so you can kind of see what we're talking about. But it's been getting some really good reviews. The thing I will preface with is that me and my podcast co-host, Annalicia, have done an episode of this book for Books Are Magical, our podcast. So you're welcome to also tune into that. This is my own independent channel. This is just my thoughts. I hope that they echo the things that I say on that podcast, which I recorded earlier today with her. It is Mother's Day weekend, so she is busy, so we kind of had to record it early. Now, why am I not out at the pool on such a pretty Saturday? Well, one, it's kind of getting towards the evening, which is also another reason why I switched to a non-caffeinated drink. And two, there were a stinking ton of people out there, and even though I'm okay with people to a certain degree, when it's kind of chaotic and noisy, I don't like it. So I decided to not. Also, they were kind of blasting some loud music that's not my jam, and I could have put my headphones on, but I also then worry that I still wouldn't have been able to drown it out, and then it would have been discordant, and again, another thing I don't really like. All that being said, is I'm here spending time with you guys, reading books, audiobooking, making all sorts of book-related content today, cleaning my house, playing with my dogs. Now, I did have my windows open, patio open, kind of did a little bit of sewing earlier, so that was a whole thing. But I am here today to talk to you guys about Darling Girls. Is it a heavy hitter? Absolutely. This book has a lot of emotion in it. There are some trigger warnings, and I will just let you know right off the bat that if any sort of infant demise is something that affects you, any sort of child, I don't want to say endangerment, but yes, there is a little bit of endangerment. There is a little bit of kind of neglect and those sorts of things. I mean, it's a book about a foster home, and it's not a very good foster home. It starts off, you think it's going to be kind of good, but you get the vibe right off the bat with Miss Fairchild that she's not okay in the head. And that just kind of snowballs downhill from there. Let me give you just a very little bit of the synopsis from Goodreads. I'm not going to give you the whole thing, but just a little bit. For as long as they can remember, Jessica, Nora, and Alicia have been told how lucky they are. As young girls, they were rescued from family tragedies and raised by a loving foster mother, Miss Fairchild, on an idyllic farming estate and given elusive second chance at a happy family life. But their childhood isn't the fairy tale everyone thinks. And we are going to stop there because I think my co-host Annalicia also stopped there when we were recording our podcast earlier, because I do feel like some of the rest of it kind of starts giving it away. But this book is a murder mystery. There are bones that are uncovered that the girls have to kind of come to terms with and kind of talk about. Now, we do get to see the three girls, Nora, Jessica, and Alicia, as adults, and all of them have some sort of mental health issue that they definitely should be working with therapists on. I cannot guarantee that they are, but definitely need to be some significant, hard-hitting therapy moments for them as adults. Uh, but as children, they are each one at a time. So Jessica is kind of the first into Miss Fairchild's care, followed by Nora, and then followed by Alicia. Jessica comes into Miss Fairchild's care at a pretty young age, probably around 4 or 5 or so, when her parents pass away. Nora, after another foster family did not work out for her, comes in. And then Alicia, who's only supposed to be there temporarily while her grandmother is in the hospital, and then we'll leave it at that. So I'm not going to tell you heads or tails or yes or no about what happens with that, but let's just say that the girls from a young age really do start bonding and supporting each other, which was something that I really liked seeing. That was one of the stronger points in my personal perspective. Now, I don't have any firsthand knowledge of being a part of the foster or orphan system. Um, both my parents are still living at this moment, and even though they are divorced, they are still alive and well, and I could call them. So, I do not know the perspective of being in any sort of foster care system or in any sort of orphan system, and I apologize for at least not being able to fully understand that perspective. However, one of the things about this book that I wasn't super thrilled about was the way they kind of framed the foster care system. Now, it is my hope that the foster care system is not as fully broken and that all foster families are not as devious and underhandedly horrible as Miss Fairchild and some of the others that we kind of get glimpses of. I truly hope that there are some very happy foster families out there, and I fully believe and fully hope that that exists. And if you've been part of that system, I hope you've had a better experience than these girls, because they don't live a very good life. Now, poor Alicia, she was the last one to come in that we kind of encounter of the primary three. And again, she was kind of coddled. She was raised by her grandmother. She was given everything she wanted. So she was what the book describes as a little more on the pudgy side. So when Miss Fairchild is very skimpy and kind of scrimps with food, she does not indulge the girls at all. Alicia feels as though she's starving. Now, as a child who's probably 11 or 12, she wouldn't fully understand other than that she's hungry and wants food, that Miss Fairchild is being kind of like a terrible person. But she ends up going in one night, and Alicia does, and eating an entire box of cornflakes out of the box, just turning it up. Heck, but I mean, I've done that. But it is my own house, so I guess I can just like take chips and just like into my face. However, when Miss Fairchild wakes up the next day, she of course sees the destruction, as she so puts it, and she starts pretty much grilling the girls. She knows who did it, but she wants Alicia to own up to it, and so Alicia does. And so then Miss Fairchild literally pours a can of beans onto the floor to make Alicia eat it off the floor, because she was like, if you're going to be a dog, or if you're going to be an animal, you might as well eat like one. And it was just terrible. And from there, it was just all downhill. Like, everything that Miss Fairchild did was terrible. But again, I loved the sisterhood of the three girls. Even as they've become adults with their own issues and lives, they still try to stay connected as best as possible. And I'm not going to give away any spoilers. This book only just came out at the end of April here in 2024. So it's not even been a month that it's been out. I'm not here to spoil all of the endings for you. I'm just going to say my personal thought on the ending if you want to hear the ending spoilers, go check out my Books Are Magical podcast. I think we're going to spoil the heck out of that ending for you. I'm not going to do it here because this is only like a 10 or 12 minute episode that is not going to spoil it for you. But I thought the ending was a little bit, I thought it was a little cheap, and I'm just going to kind of put that out there. I gave it 4 stars with the hopes, or with the kind of the unfulfilled ending. I really wanted more, I guess. Like I said, I love mysteries. I love murder mystery thrillers. All of that is my cup of tea. I gravitate towards that quite frequently. I do see on Magical, Goodreads, that it's still getting pretty good overall reviews with 4 and 5 stars as being about 80% of, about 80% of the reviews. So that's really good. I thought it was a really good psychological, but my co-host Annalicia had a couple triggering moments with some of the theming within it, and I completely understand. So please, if you do have some triggering themes related to kids or related to infants, please, I think she said Storygraph is really good at kind of trying to highlight those before you read. So please check that out before you dive in, just to ensure that it's something that you're ready to read at the moment. And that's going to be my alibi. That is going to be my honest review. I want to thank NetGalley and the publishing company for allowing me to have an audio copy of this book. I love audiobooks. I love audio, I have Audible, and I love the fact that NetGalley also now lets me borrow audiobooks as well, and I have been trying to partake of that as frequently as I can when a title comes across, because when I'm cleaning my house or doing something like that, it's so easy and convenient. But for me, I need that kind of, it's a background noise, but it also it helps me focus. I don't know, it's like turning on the TV and then studying. I used to do that in high school too. But anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that if you haven't read this book, please read the summary, check it out, read a couple reviews, and see if it's up your alley. But like I said, I gave it 4 stars. Pretty good mystery thriller. I will not knock it, but yeah. Until next time, I will see you guys on the next page. Have a great one. Bye.